All right, guys. Today I'm talking to you about the idea of scarcity. Okay, this is something a lot of people struggle with. Um, Brene Brown says it in her books. That's something she comes across with a lot of people in all of her research. Um, it's something I've struggled with personally a lot. Just not feeling like I am enough, like I have enough. Um, I just wanted to kind of look at that with you today. Okay, so ask yourself some of these questions when you think about the last time, like how much time has passed since you last looked at pornography or masturbated or both. Do you consider that to be enough time, or are you telling yourself that's not enough? Okay, and then the same thing can be asked for how much money you have and how much have you accomplished to this point in your life. How strong am I? How much time do I have? How much sleep did I get last night? What kind of husband or father am I? What kind of person am I? And with a lot of these questions, you might be telling yourself that it's not enough or I'm not enough. And we want to really look at this, okay? So let's just challenge this idea for a minute in our minds. Let's ask ourselves how much sobriety. Okay, I'm going to talk about sobriety for a second. For those of you who don't know, sobriety is a word, it comes from sober. It's from the addiction lingo and 12 steps and stuff. So when we're talking sobriety, how much sobriety you have, it's how much time you've gone without turning to your addiction. Okay, so um, so ask yourself how much sobriety is enough. Okay, would it be a day, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, the rest of your life? Um, just ask yourself, like, how much would be enough? And then ask yourself further, enough for what? Right? Like, what does it even mean to have enough of that? Okay, we want to start challenging this sort of vague idea that we have about what may or may not be enough for us, because of how that can affect us. Okay, so the reason that we do pretty much everything that we do is usually in search of a feeling. We want to feel a certain way. Okay, we do something because we think it will help us feel a certain way. Okay, and then the other thing that happens is we try to avoid the negative feelings that we don't like, right? So, all right. So this is how I used to think it worked. If I let myself go on default mode, autopilot, then I would get in that mode. I'd think, okay, first I've got to get away from this feeling, because that feeling of scarcity, when I'm thinking I'm not enough or I don't have enough sobriety, whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. I do not like it. And I want to get away from it if I'm in default mode. Okay. And then the second thing I want to do is I want to find the feeling that does feel good where I do feel enough. Okay. So I would get it in my mind that if I want to get away from this negative feeling, go toward that positive feeling, that I just need to have more sobriety, right? If I get more and more and go long enough, then I'll finally feel enough, right? So I would almost like hustle for that feeling of enough, or try to earn that feeling of enough, right? The problem with this is that our actions do not create our feelings. Okay, so no matter how much sobriety I have, there's no way it's going to create that feeling of enough for me. Okay, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. No matter how you turn it, it doesn't work, because our actions do not create our feelings, right? And this is kind of a surprising thing, because it's not really how we're taught naturally. It's not how we talk about things either, with each other, things we've learned in school or things you see in TV. It's not how we talk about it, but our actions do not create our feelings. Okay, so I started looking back on the different sobriety lengths that I've had throughout my life, whether it was weeks or months or years. And so even thought about like my longest stretches, like several years, and asked myself, did I feel enough after several years of sobriety? And the answer was no, I didn't. Okay. And then a lot of us who struggle with this, we end up in kind of these cyclical patterns, okay, where we hustle real hard for it. We're going, and then we burn out, turn to pornography, okay, then we kind of crash, have the big fallout after, right? And there's a lot of drama that goes on in our minds about it. And then we get back up, like, okay, we're gonna do this again, and get motivated and go for it again until we burn out again. The reason that we burn out is because we're trying to use actions to get that feeling, whatever the feeling is we're trying to get. But in this case, we're talking about feeling enough. We're trying to use actions to get that feeling, and it doesn't work that way. So we're trying to use something in a way that it just is impossible. Okay, no wonder we burn out. Okay, so how do you actually create those feelings? The way feelings actually work is our thoughts create our feelings. Every single feeling that you have is preceded by a specific thought, okay? And your brain is thinking all day long, 60,000 plus thoughts a day. And some of those thoughts are going to create positive feelings, some negative feelings, some neutral feelings, right? It's not going to really be a feeling from a lot of them. But all of our feelings come from an underlying thought or a belief, okay? And a belief is just a thought that we think again and again, over and over, that we practice a lot, okay? So the point of this, though, is if actions don't create feelings, then no matter how much sobriety you have, it's never going to feel like enough. It never will from your actions. Okay? You could go the whole rest of your life till the day you die, and on your deathbed, you will still feel like that's not enough. Okay? If you don't change the thoughts or beliefs that are behind those feelings. So what some people worry about, and what I worried about, is, okay, so if I take away, if I just let myself feel enough, then how am I going to stay motivated? Okay, so I think of it kind of like the carrot on a stick example, right? You have the stick attached to your back, it comes out, it's got the string and a carrot dangling on the string, and it's always out of your reach, no matter how much you run after it, reach as hard as you can, as far as you can, try to swing it to yourself, right? This is what it's like to try to use your actions to feel like you're enough, okay? Is having that carrot on a stick, okay? But what if you can just detach that stick from your back, right? And then slide that carrot right over, and then have it with you and get the carrot. That is the equivalent of changing your thinking to create the feelings of feeling enough, okay? And like I said, I used to worry if I let myself feel enough, then how am I going to stay motivated, right? But this assumes that you can't feel both enough and highly motivated at the same time. And who says that you can't, right? Because guess what? You actually can, because motivation is also a feeling that can be intentionally created by the way that you think. So you can feel the feeling of enough, or whatever that looks like for you, worthy or self-acceptance, approved of, whatever that feeling is that's enough. You can create that for yourself right now as you are, and you can also create the feeling of motivation for yourself. You can be intentional with both of these things simultaneously, okay? So put your mind at ease and let your brain know I can still be motivated if I let myself feel enough right now. Okay. Because I think that's why that's there. I think we have that belief, at least with me, I like to think about all of our beliefs as being our brain trying to help us, even if it doesn't really help us. It's our brain trying to protect us or help us survive or help us achieve our goals, right? And it seems like this would help you achieve your goal, right? Let's just keep, if I'm not enough, I'm going to push harder till I am, right? But in my experience, it can actually be detrimental with this learning the skill of not looking at pornography, okay? So, so when it comes to believing that you are not enough, enough is enough, right? Um, and the reason I say that is if you look at yourself when you feel those feelings of not enough or scarcity or unworthy, unacceptable, think about how you are likely to behave toward pornography when you're feeling that way, right? And with most of us, we're more likely to resort to pornography if we're feeling that way, okay? And our feelings do drive our actions in the long run, right? So just look at that. What results are you getting from the way that you're thinking about this? And is it actually helpful to think that I'm not enough or I don't have enough sobriety, right? Or I will be enough only when I have this amount of sobriety. Just check what beliefs you have there and really look at them and how they make you feel, what actions and results come from it, okay? Because on the flip side, here are some things to consider that I would offer to you. What if you are enough already and you always have been, right? What if you do earn and have enough money right now? What if you are strong enough? What if you do have what it takes? What if you have accomplished enough to this point in your life? What if what you have to offer right now in this moment is enough? And what if you will always be enough and you always have been enough? Just think about that. Try those on, see how they feel, and see how that feeling serves you and if it drives the actions. Because in my experience, when I create the feelings that come from these types of thoughts, they are much more useful in terms of driving the actions that I want. If I really want to not look at porn and learn this skill, achieve this goal, then I'm going to learn to intentionally create the feelings that drive the actions that get me there. Okay. And you can do the same. And I would love to show you more how to do this in my 12-week How to Stop Looking at Porn program. This is one of the things that we work on a lot, is not just the enough feeling, but how do you actually change your thinking? Because if actions don't create your feelings, right, it's your thoughts that do. And so if you do want to create more intentional and useful feelings to help you achieve your goals and what you desire most and get those results that you want, then you need to change your thinking. And this is a lot of what we talk about in the program. So if you do want to find out more, go to dannypohlman.com/workwithme. And Pohlman is spelled Poelman, and sign up for a free mini session. And I would love to talk with you and just kind of see where you're at, see if I can help you, and you can find out more about the program and see if it would be a good fit for you. No obligation. I honestly love just talking with any of you about this and having discussions about this. I really do enjoy it, whether you become my client or not.